All right, I'm going to work out day 32 review. Let's put your name at the top. 32, not 23. Let's import random. I see that part 1 involves a random number. Use a for loop to print 25 random numbers. So 4x in range 25. That'll repeat 25 times. And now I want to, I'm going to make a number. R equals random.randint 1, 5. And then I'm going to print R end equals space. That way they're all going to be on one line. And then when the loop is over, I'm going to do a print to get it to go to a new line. I'm going to also print part 1. And then I'm going to just print twice. And we'll see random numbers from 1 to 5, all on the same line. And then I go down to a new line. Okay, let's do part 2. I'm going to make these uppercase. Just let's be consistent here. Part 2, write a for loop that prints the numbers 10 down to 1, counting down backwards. One number on each line. Then print a blank line. So what I'm going to do, there's different ways to do this, but one easy way is just to say 4x in range 10. That'll go from 0 to 9. And then I'm going to print 10 minus x. So that way, first it goes 10 minus 0, and then 10 minus 1, and then all the way down to 1. So there's a way to do a for loop that goes backwards, but this seems easier to me. I'm going to print a blank line, and now we're going to do part 3. Okay, part 3, write a for loop to print the numbers 100 through 140 in 3 columns separated by tabs. All right, so we're going to need a count variable to determine when we want to go to a new column. And now we're going to say 4x in range 100, comma, we have to go one more than the number we want at the top. I want to go to 140, so we have to say 141 there. We're going to print x and equals a tab. Tab is \t. And then we're going to say c equals c plus 1. And then we're going to say if c modulo 3 equals 0. That means if we've printed 3 of them, then we're going to go to a new line. And we're going to print a blank line here and another blank line there. So here's 100 down to 140 in 3 columns with a blank line. Part 4, write a function that accepts a piece of text and prints it in a box as shown here. All right, def box text. That's telling Python we're going to make a function. It's going to be called box text, and we're going to send it a piece of text. And what we're going to do now is we're going to print 5 stars. Everything starts with 5 stars. And then we're going to do a for loop. So watch this, for x in text. That's going to take the letters one at a time from the variable text and put them into this variable x. And now we're going to print, first we're going to print a star, and then a comma, and then x, and then we're going to print another star after another comma. And that's going to go do all those things. And then I'm going to copy this line and paste it again, because that's how we're going to end it. Now, if we run this, nothing's going to happen, but that's because we didn't call the function yet. So then I said call it with 2 different phrases. So box text, happy days. Let's see if that works. Oh yeah. And then box text. I love puppies. And there you go. Kind of feel like let's have this print one blank line. And that way it'll automatically put a blank line in between different runs. All right. Part 5. Part 5, make a list with your 4 favorite animals in it. Animals equals, a list is square brackets. We got to use quotes. Dogs, cats, chickens, and of course everyone's favorite, snakes. And then print the list using a for loop, 1 animal per line. 4x, how about this, for animal in animals? That's going to take the animals one at a time and put them in the word animal, the variable animal, and we're going to just print animal. And you could use x instead of animal if you felt like it. That should work fine. Okay, and now part 6. All right, part 6. I put some test scores. Here, I'm going to go get it. I'm going to pause it. All right, I went and copied. You go copy the scores from the PDF, put them in there. Don't type them in, just go copy it. And now I'm asking you to write a for loop that goes through the list, adds up all the values, and reports the average. So to do that, we need to know how many there are. That'll be the length command, len. So we don't need to do anything about that, but we do have to add them all up. So let's say total equals 0. Now for score in scores, that's going to take 81 and put it into score, and then 45 and put it into score, and so on. And now we're going to say total equals total plus score. And then I'm asking you to print the average. And the average is the total divided by how many there are, and that's the length of scores. So we're supposed to get 72 point with all the 7s. And that's because that's what these numbers give us. If I added another number, we'd get a different value. See, it changed. And that's why I wanted you to do it with a loop and not just hard code this in some way. I wanted it to work with any list of numbers. Part 7. Write code uses a try except structure with an input command to request an integer value greater than 100. So we need a while true, try, num equals int input, please enter an integer greater than 100. Now if num greater than 100, break, else print too small, please try again. Space twice, except value error, print it needs to be a number. Let's try again. And then when they finish, I ask you to print the word thanks that many times. Thanks, and then times num. So let's give it a try. And let's also print a blank line. Okay, so we get to here. Please enter an integer greater than 100. If I hit enter, it says it needs to be a number. If I enter 3, too small, please try again. And if I enter 200, I'm going to get 200 thanks, just like that. That's what I wanted. Okay, and now, last but not least, part 8. Part 8. print 8. Write a function, do it name, which accepts a name and prints this. So def do it name, and it prints that. So I'm going to do a variable called spaces equals the length of name. How many spaces we're going to do. In fact, that's how many times we're going to repeat. So I'm going to say for x in range spaces. That's how many times we're going to print something. And now what we're going to do is we're going to print the space character times spaces. And then we'll do a comma and then name. I think this is going to be one too many space. So let's just see. But then what we're going to do is do spaces equals spaces minus 1. And then backspace twice. No, backspace once. And we're going to print a blank line. So now let's just make sure this doesn't have any trouble. Right, it doesn't have any trouble. But now we have to call the function. So we go to here and we say do it Hayes. And so I'm going to enter that. So this goes Hayes, 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 Hayes. The problem is there are 2 spaces right there. So I have to just make my spaces variable be equal to the length of the name minus 1. And that's easy enough. And I'm going to enter 101. And so now we don't get enough Hayeses. But let's the repeating then has to be back to what it was supposed to be. And that's fine. So this is exactly what I asked for. 4 spaces and then Hayes, 3 spaces and then Hayes, 2 spaces, 1 space. And if we call it with a longer phrase, like I'm glad to be done with this review assignment, exclamation point, then yeah, we have a lot of spaces in the beginning. I think this will look better if I pull this over. But however many spaces, then it's all the way down to 1 space in front of the last one, which is what I asked you to do. So that's it. Good people. We're all done.